Samsung's Galaxy S26 lineup is shaping up to be one of the most talked about flagship releases, not just because of camera or design changes but because of major changes in Samsung's chipset plans. New reports suggest that Samsung may save a lot of money by using its own Exynos 2600 processor in certain regions. This decision could affect where each model of the Galaxy S26 series is sold and which chipset it gets. The Galaxy S26 family is expected to include three versions: the standard Galaxy S26, and the larger Galaxy S26 and the high-end Galaxy S26 Ultra. Samsung is planning a mixed chipset approach for this series. In most regions, the Galaxy S26 and S26s will reportedly use Samsung's own Exynos 2600 chip. However, some markets will still receive these models with Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 instead. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to launch worldwide with only the Qualcomm chip. A new report sheds light on why Samsung is choosing this strategy. According to information coming from Chosen Biz, Samsung's mobile division, Samsung MX, has been negotiating with Samsung System LSI, the team responsible for Exynos processors. Samsung MX trying to secure the Exynos 2600 at a price that is $20 to $30 cheaper than Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. If Samsung manages to get the Exynos 2600 at this lower price, then building each Galaxy S26 or S26 SUS with an Exynos chip will cost much less than building the same phone with a Snapdragon chip. While a difference of $20 to $30 may not seem huge, it becomes a huge saving when you consider the millions of units Samsung sells each year. But this doesn't mean customers will get lower prices. Another report explains that Samsung is currently dealing with higher costs for several smartphone components. Instead of using the savings to make the phones cheaper, Samsung reportedly plans to keep the Galaxy S26 series at the same launch price as the Galaxy S25 lineup. In simple words, Samsung saves money, but customers may not see any price reduction. Some people may also assume that a cheaper chipset is automatically worse, but that's not always the case. The fact that the Exynos 2600 costs less than the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 doesn't mean it is weaker. Samsung System LSI may be giving Samsung MX a special price to rebuild trust after years of mixed reactions to Exynos chips. This could be their chance to bring Exynos back into the spotlight with strong performance and competitive pricing. Using more Exynos chips also gives Samsung MX more control over supply and fewer reasons to rely heavily on Qualcomm. If the Exynos 2600 performs well in real-world use, especially in battery life, gaming, and heat control, Samsung might once again become a strong competitor in the chipset market. Along with this pricing news, other leaks help paint a wider picture of Samsung's plans for the Galaxy S26 series. One interesting leak says the mid-range Galaxy A7 might outperform the Galaxy S26 in one area: charging speed. This has made many users wonder why Samsung is giving faster charging to cheaper models instead of the flagship lineup. Another report claims that the Galaxy S26 Ultra might come with better low-light camera performance, which could become one of its biggest selling points. The whole S26 series is also rumored to be lighter than the S25 models, giving users a more comfortable feel in the hand. There is also news about memory configurations. Many users expected Samsung to upgrade the RAM in the base Galaxy S26 model, but leaks say the company might keep the same memory options as last year. This decision is likely part of Samsung's effort to control manufacturing costs while keeping the phone's retail price unchanged. All these leaks point to one clear goal: Samsung wants to control prices for the Galaxy S26 series. With rising component costs, the company doesn't want to raise prices for customers. By getting the Exynos 2600 at a lower cost, Samsung can reduce expenses behind the scenes. In the end, the Exynos 2600 may play a major role in the future of Samsung's flagship phones. A lower price does not always mean lower performance, and Samsung seems confident enough to use the Exynos chip in most regions. As more leaks appear, it becomes clear that Samsung is focusing on selective upgrades, managing costs carefully, and giving Exynos another chance in the premium market.